Hi, everybody. It is October 1st, Friday. Um, yeah, today I want to tell you about uh, kind of a crazy experience I had on Tuesday, which was the 28th. Uh, but I kind of want to start off by kind of explaining how timelines work again. I know I've talked about it in the past, but the reason why this is pertinent is because not only did I dodge a bullet on Tuesday, but also it changed the trajectory of a lot of different timelines again. And what I'm so how I'm going to explain that is the, the basic way timelines work. Just because you say timeline doesn't make it science fiction. All timelines are is basically mostly decisions or experiences that happen to somebody. So the basic way to explain a timeline is, for instance, someone got, at your job. Let's say everybody's working, everybody comes there first thing in the morning, whatever. So sometimes even subtle things can change a day. Like you might get in early, and I might start a kind of a cascade of effects of you got your job done quicker, or for instance, if somebody calls in sick that week, and now you have to find someone else to replace that person, it might change the timeline of your business. It's like, well, now things didn't get done on time, or you got behind a day. So basically how timelines work is we're all manifesting timelines constantly, and so it's like a giant uh, giant sea of decisions. It's constantly in flux. That's why we always say the timeline is in flux, which means it's always kind of changing. Now, if you're in a position of, let's say, some sort of power, let's say you're like a governor or even just a president of a company, you have more effect on more timelines because you're at the head of a company. So you can fire people, you can decide to stop a line of products that you're making in your company. So you can say, okay, we're not going to make that anymore. It's not profitable enough, and then you'll decide to change something else. So that happens all the time. And another big thing that affects timelines is the death of somebody. So especially like if, let's say, you're in a band or something. Like if one of your band members dies suddenly, especially if it's suddenly, if what was kind of unexpected, they have to find someone to replace them, and then it becomes like a legal thing too, because now you've got to they're part of like a new company, and there's like residual sales, and you've got royalties that are going to change. Uh, your fan base is going to change because there's like, well, that's not the original band. I'm kind of just using that as one example. So, or for instance, a death of an uncle, or especially someone younger, because it has a more of a ripple effect on people's personal timelines. Because especially, let's say, a young father or something. Now it's going to affect all those children, how they grow up, and they probably have to adapt to a new father or something later on down the line. I'm basically giving a lot of different examples of how timelines work. Um, so now I'm going to go to my story on Tuesday. As I've told you guys before, I call them guides. Now you can call them. I used to call them guardian angels, to be honest, because I didn't know who or what they were. But once in a while, I would get a message or a feeling, and then I'd either I you know just blow it off and forget about it, or I would listen to it and take heed to what they were trying to tell me or something. And a lot of times it is this to save you from something. It's almost you can even call it your inner voice. That's kind of what I call it too. The little voice in your head that says, "I'm not sure if you should go boating that weekend, because something might happen or whatever." So you say, well, you can either ignore it, and sure enough, you get into a boating accident, you almost drown or something, or if you do take heed to that warning. It's like he can go, well, I'm just not going to go boating this weekend. And then, sure enough, you're safe. But the problem with that is it's hard to prove that something bad was going to happen because you didn't go. So that's when you sort of have doubts in it. You go, well, I didn't go boating and nothing happened, so maybe I should have went boating anyway, because that sounds like nothing happened anyway. That type of thing. So it makes you kind of doubt, like, if you should do something or not. Well, for me, because lately, especially in the last few years, my guides have been talking to me pretty loudly, to the point where I can't really ignore them too much. And I can tell something's important if it gets repeated or something. So, okay, I'm gonna try to shorten the story as much as I can. But what's been happening to me over the last 10 years in particular that I know of, I've been getting directed energy weapons. Now, at first, I just thought it was just electromagnetic, interference type of thing. Because me and my wife started to look up the effects of not only Wi-Fi and just even the electrical things in your house. And we found out, a lot of people are getting kind of almost like it's like electrical noise, and it interferes with our bodies, whether we realize it or not. It does. So, like, for instance, if you're around power lines a lot, or heavy-duty power lines, you'll find, at least this is the research that we found anyway, is like you'll have a higher rate of cancers amongst people that live amongst really high-powered lines. So you realize that, there's kind of effects coming from electrical lines, so including in your house. So almost like the less electricity we have to interfere with our frequency of our bodies, the more healthy we are. So that's why, like, for instance, everybody, including me, I want to get out to the country on the weekend. I want to just breathe fresh air, get away from all this electricity, basically, because we're getting vibes from it, whether we realize it or not, especially if you're bombarded with it. So, for some reason, I know that I'm being picked on, and I don't know why, and even my guides won't tell me. But I'm being picked on, and they just, some people call it targeted individuals. Either way. But what it feels like to me, and the more research I've been doing into it, is this microwave weapons is what they use. And whether it's just a mild form of electrical interference type of thing. But the reason why I was made more aware of it is I would even stop, because they would attack me at night, basically. In other words, you can't hit a moving target. You have to, if someone's lying still enough, you can actually concentrate and actually try to affect that person. So I would wake up with my arm in pain, or especially my joints. They would attack my joints. Sometimes my head, I would just get a headache, things like that. But anyway, it started becoming obvious that they were really pinpoint targeting me, because I would feel this, it seemed like I was a bug on my arm or something, but it felt like a laser hitting it. Anyway, so I wake up, it's like, it's not a bug. Then I'd move to the other side of the bed, and then I'd find it follow me again. So I noticed it was kind of following me, this whatever it was, microwave energy thing. So I actually moved the bed to the other side of the room, and it stopped for a few days, and it started up again. Then I would sleep on the couch. It wouldn't affect me at all for 2 days, and all of a sudden it would start up again. It's almost as if they're watching me, my movements and things like that. Like, again, you can just take this as a crazy story, but they were literally following me around. So then I went to the spare bedroom. They would target me there. Give me, I'd have a couple days of them not shooting at me, is kind of what I'm saying. Anyway, so I realized, well, I know about Faraday cages, so I put a Faraday cage around our electric box outside of our house, and it seemed to really help out a lot. Like I said, when this is first happening, I'm thinking it's just electrical. I couldn't quite figure it out. Then I did more research and found out, yes, there actually are people out there that are being targeted. And it had very similar, you know, side effects and feelings of being hit by some sort of energy weapon. So anyway, I decided to try having little pieces of aluminum over top of my body, and it would stop. It would stop it from being hit there completely. So it's like, oh wow, this is great. I'm getting a good night's sleep. But now this arm would be attacked. So okay, then I put a piece of aluminum over that, and I'd get a good night's sleep. So eventually, I was sleeping with, I know it sounds weird, with these plates of aluminum over my whole body to be able to get a good night's sleep. But they would also attack my head. So anyway, to make a long story short, is I was trying lots of different things to stop this. I just couldn't get a good night's sleep for years. And they ramped it up in the last 2 months a lot. So bad. It's just been terrible. Anyway, so I've actually had to wear a helmet to sleep, as silly as it is, and that's why I don't talk about it too much. I wore a helmet to sleep, and that would finally stop them from hitting my head. So, and then plates of metal on my body, that type of thing. It's just crazy, I know. But anyway, to make the long story short, was my guides were telling me, yes, they are attacking me, and they said they kind of said we're taking care of it. And I didn't know what. I said, can you please tell them to stop? You know, and a couple of times they actually did stop for probably about 10 days or something, and then they started up again. But anyway, not lately. In the last, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks, about a month, they've been really pouring it on hard, and I've looked online of people that have similar effects, and yes, they're having the same problem. It was really, they're ramping it up for some reason. Well, because I know now, in a sense, why. It's because they're losing, and this is, I don't know, either it's a computer program that it's a kill switch that you just turned it on max and it just left it or something, and it's done remotely with AI or something. I don't know. I don't know enough. But I'm saying it's definitely for real. I'm being attacked. Like I literally would wake up in pain from it hitting my head or my arm or my leg, like really intense pain. So my guides were telling me, okay, they're going to stop it by the end of September. So, and this was like over a week ago. I was like, really? Okay, please, yeah. I just want to get some sleep. So, I'm going to go to the story now of what happened to me on Tuesday. Tuesday, I woke up, and it's usually about 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'll just wake up out of nowhere. It's like my guides wake me up, and they tell me stuff. Sometimes it's automatic writing. I'll just write it down. I'm like, wow, all this information. I'll just write it down. It's crazy. And I've made lots of notes, and I haven't read them out to everybody yet, but I'm going to be kind of compiling that. But anyway, so they woke me up. It was probably about four. No. They woke me up 4 times in the middle of the night. The first one was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and for some reason they kept on saying cerebral cortex or something like that. It was like cerebral, and then vitamin C. Cerebral cortex, vitamin C, and I was like, okay. Normally I would write it down, but I was so dead tired, and as you know, from telling you about my other problems, is I'm hardly getting any decent sleep at all. But I'm sleeping underneath metal to try to protect myself. So I'd wake up again an hour later or something, like 2:30 in the morning, and then same thing. It was like, and then they said something like cerebral palsy, and then vitamin C. I was like, what is that all about? I don't get it. Okay, but I didn't write it down still. Then I woke up at 3:30. They said the same thing: cerebral cortex, cerebral palsy, something like that, and vitamin C. So I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to remember this because whenever I wake up, that's the only thing on my mind. So okay, I'll write it down or something. So sure enough, something like 5 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. Same thing, cerebral palsy or something, and then vitamin C. I mean, these are strange. This is strange words for no reason at all. I couldn't figure it out. So. So anyway, I woke up early because I couldn't get much sleep as usual. And I went to the computer and I looked up cerebral palsy. And it's like, well, okay. it's debilitating, especially your muscles. You can't move your arms, your legs, or something to that effect. But it's a childhood thing. It's like you're either born with it or you're not. You don't just suddenly get it. So that was kind of weird. And vitamin C, I take vitamin C every once in a while. Maybe I should ramp it up. Okay. So I I told my wife about it first thing in the morning. I got this strange message, and so we kind of had a small discussion. Anyway, I had to go pick up my car around noon. So uh, anyway, so I thought, well, I better just take some vitamin C anyway. It can't hurt. And so we were kind of laughing about it. But anyway, in my cabinet, in my kitchen cabinet, I had the vitamin C, uh, and it's right next to some next to this, which I take for pain, you know, and it's acetaminophen. But this is 500 milligrams. But for some reason, when I saw it, it was right beside, like I said, the vitamin C. I took the vitamin C and I went, oh, you know what? I just don't want to have pain in my arm today. So, because I just want to get out and do stuff. So I took 2 of these. Normally, I never take 2. And so that was 1,000 milligrams of this. So, okay. So then we went about our day. So we drove, and then we stopped in at a friend's place. Because my car is getting fixed, so we drove Janet's car. And so I get out at my friend's place, and for some reason, my right arm and my left arm, I can't even hardly lift them. It was like lead. I went, whoa, what's going on? I could barely. My leg, I just lifted up a little bit, it goes boom to the ground. But not my left side. So that was really, really strange. I was like, do you feeling that? Because it almost felt like the ground was rubber or something, because I couldn't feel my leg. I couldn't feel. It started mostly with my leg, and I'm off balance, and I'm walking like I got cerebral palsy, like just out of nowhere. Just like I'm having difficulty walking. I can barely stand up, and I'm getting dizzy. And so I told Janet about it, and she said, well, what's wrong? I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. There's something really, really wrong with me. I was having trouble lifting my right arm, my left arm. But anyway, we said, well, I don't know, somehow it's just going to have to I said, maybe I could just walk it off. So I kind of just stumbled in, talked to my friend. I said, this is weird. Am I the only one? Do you guys feel this? It feels like the ground is like, it's like extra magnetic or something. It's just literally pulling my arm and my leg down to the ground. It's just weird. But anyway, so we sort of talked about it for a little bit and just kind of blew it off. And never really thought about it too much. But anyway, this kind of was with me for the rest of the day. And so I phoned a friend about it, and he said, well, it might be possibly a stroke. And I said, well, maybe, but I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. First of all, I've never had a stroke before. So I said, well, maybe, possibly. But I said, can you get something else? Like, can you get something that's debilitating? Well, the weird part about it is the fact is it's only on my right side. So anyway, went home, did some research, did a lot of research, and basically we discovered that I had a mild stroke. So I was like, okay, well, what do you do when you have a stroke? And I looked it all up, and looked at all these medical journals about it, and what to do when you have it, and all this stuff, and how to prevent them, and as well as how to treat them. So they said, especially after a person has had a stroke, it's best to just do some sort of physiotherapy to regain your muscles. And that's kind of what I had to do for that rest of the day. I was trying to retrain my right arm and my right leg just to walk. It was really difficult. So we went walking, which we normally do anyway. But so the following night, guess what? I asked my guides, what happened, what's going on, and they said, yes, you had a stroke. That's why we made you take those 2 Tylenol. because that's what basically stopped it from becoming an extreme stroke. So basically, they made me dodge a bullet there. That was going to be extreme stroke, and they said, and by the way, and they filled in the story, and this is where it got scary to me. They said, yes, I've been targeted, and they've been planning this for a long time because they do it in small little bits. They've been attacking my left side of my brain, which makes my right side function. They were planning on giving me a massive stroke, basically on that day. And they said how they were planning on it was, and that's why both of us were in my wife's car, Janet's car, and they said the way they planned it was they were trying to take us both out by me having stroke while I was driving, and I was going to be in this, and they gave me the vision of what was going to happen was it's going to be a terrible car accident, and either whether I survive or not, because there's no confirmed timeline, but that's what they were shooting for. And we were going to go into the hospital and probably get vaccinated, and they would have probably, because I couldn't speak properly, they're going to, and once I died, they were going to mark it up as a COVID death just to make sure that they had the final laugh, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? So anyway, that's kind of how I dodged a bullet on Tuesday. You guys, it's like, whether I believe this or not, but I listen to my guardian angels or whatever it is that speak to me, and that's what happened. And that's why it was such an odd thing for me to take two. I don't do that normally ever. I took two of them just before we went to drive to go pick up my van. That is just crazy. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of just document this story. But again, how it affects everybody is, I'm not sure if, I mean, by me being taken out, that would have changed the trajectory of a lot of different timelines. Things like that make you think, after you survive something like that, well, how many people would I have affected by not being here anymore? So, I mean, you know, you don't know how important you are to some people, whatever. I definitely would have made it difficult for my wife or some people. But either way, they wanted me to still be around, so they're keeping me alive for some reason. And I don't know what, and I don't know why they picked on me, but either way, I dodged a bullet, I'm still here, and I'm actually, it's almost 2 days later, I don't even feel have any effects at all anymore. It's just slightly less movement, but I'm working it off, so literally I'm going to be totally okay. So this is a really happy ending to a really scary, that could have been a really scary situation there, really. So anyway, stay positive. I just wanted to document what happened to you on Tuesday, and we're still winning this war. I mean, well, it's already won, but we're still playing this thing out. So, yeah, I'll do another video later this week when things start getting exposed more. Okay, bye. Talk to you later.